Hi and welcome. If you're coming across this video, I'm sure you're curious what is the Korean Government Scholarship Program, aka the KGSP, or otherwise known as the Global Korean Scholarship, GKS. So if you're curious about what it is and how to apply for it, then stay tuned to this video. So my name is Daisy Jemtai Ruto and I am from Kenya and currently a 2021 KGSP recipient. I'm doing my language school at Daejeon. It's a school called Peche Dehake, which is Pacha University, such a wonderful school. Next year, I will be going to Seoul National University to pursue my master's degree program in anthropology. So you're curious how I got here and how I was able to get the scholarship. So if you go down to the studyinkorea.com website, it has a detailed plan on what the KGSP is, what is GKS, it's also the other name, and how you can go about in applying for it. So if you Google and search studyinkorea.com, they usually post the announcements for the the GKS program, scholarship program, and so you'll be able to learn more about it. So the whole KGSP program is offered to various countries, including people from East Africa, which is Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, and various other countries across the world. So if you click onto the PDF form that is available within studyinkorea.com, you'll be able to see which country can apply and how many people from your country can get the scholarship. This year, through the embassy track, there was 5 people in our quota, and for the university track program it was 2 people, but in the end we ended up being 6 because they added someone. At times they tend to do that. If they see there's more worthy candidates, they can add someone extra. So from the embassy track we ended up being 6 and 2 other people joined through the university track. So if you go down to the KGSP website, it will tell you that there are 2 ways of applying for it: the university track and the embassy track. You have to choose one, you can't choose both. So personally, I chose the embassy track because it offered the benefit of choosing between 3 universities that I could apply to, while the university track is more direct and you have to apply to just one university, and you bank all your luck on that one university. So most people tend to apply through the embassy track, which is really long. It has a very long process. So I'll speak mostly for the graduate school program because that is what I applied to, but there's also the undergraduate study program, which is the application period is offered or open around August, September, and they do the whole process throughout October, and I guess by November they announce the successful applicants. So you can also apply for it if you want to do undergraduate program here. For me, I did the graduate program clearly and so the application period was open in February. So the whole of January I was just checking through the website waiting for the announcements, and by February they did announce it, and I knew I was going to apply for the embassy track, so I prepared for it. So basically I'll share what the program is through my own experience and how I went about the application. So around February this year, the embassy track opened up, and I looked through the website. I knew which forms I needed. Actually, to tell you the truth, ever since I started learning Korean language back in 2017 at the University of Nairobi, I knew about this program and I really wanted to apply for it. I have other seniors from my department who got it, and so I was very, I knew I wanted to do my graduate school in Korea, and so I worked hard with my grades and my application so that I could become a successful candidate. Because at the same time, you might be a Korean language studying student, but you might not also get it. So you need to have the best application in order to beat out everyone else who's applying for it. So in February, I prepared all my documents, and if you go to the website, I do have my original application. I made several copies of it. There are up to around 8 forms that you have to fill. There's the application form, there's the personal statement, there's the statement of purpose, there's a research proposal that's for PhD students. and there's the 2 letters of recommendation, the university official letter of invitation for people who do, I think, research or through the university track. I'm not so sure. And then there's the GKS applicant agreement and the personal medical agreement. So the most important part is all of them, but you need to pay attention to your statement of purpose and your personal statement, and equally to the the study plan that you have to write. It's very, very important because it builds the base of your application, and this is what they'll send to the universities that you will apply to. So based on the embassy track, I was going to do anthropology, and I knew those were the courses I'm going to do. So I quickly went through Google search and through so many universities to see who offers anthropology or who offers a course close to anthropology. And out of the entire application, I zeroed to like 5 universities. And even before that, in January, I was busy emailing other universities like IWA Women's University, because I had gone there previously for a summer program and I was really into going to that university again. But the most they had was a cultural study program. So I weighed my option and I was like, do I really, it's not anthropology, but it's not the course I want, but it's also a possibility. So it was in my possibility option. It was in the I had a whole list, and eventually I zeroed to 3 universities: Seoul National University, Yonsei National University, and John Book National University. And at first I wasn't going to choose John Book, but I chose one called Kangwon University in Chuncheon area, and I was going to write it, but then when the list came out of like the university that you want to choose and what courses they offered, that year anthropology was not there, and I was like, oh my god, so what do I do? So I go back to my box and I was like, okay, then John Book is fine, and plus they did have English and Korean. They could teach in both languages, so I was like, okay, fine. It's not it's in a place called Jeonju district, so I knew it, and I was like, okay, fine, this is the one I'm going to choose. So you have to be really careful with the courses and the universities you want to choose. I decided to align mine so that my statement of purpose and my study plan could have more sync and balance. I think you can choose between different courses if you want to, but the safer option is to do something that follows in line with each other. Because for me, anthropology is the study of human beings and their culture. I could also study things related to culture and maybe women gender studies, because I also did study that. So it makes sense to choose something along the lines of what you studied. I could also apply to this course, international relations, as well. No, it's equally possible. So but I just chose to choose what I'm passionate about, and that was anthropology, because I knew I could do, during the interview I could show best why you should give me this scholarship and how passionate I am about my course. And so that's very important, choosing a course you actually like, and so that they can believe in your dream and give you the scholarship at the end. So come February, I applied for the scholarship, and I prepared all my documents in advance. For Kenya, the people in Kenya, you need to certify your documents. There's a part for certification of documents. Actually, it's for everyone. So you could either notarize it through a lawyer or maybe the embassy as well. But I was certifying my Kenyan certificates, my KCP, KCSE, the national exam certificate, and the recommendation was to go to the Ministry of Education, and that's where they do certification. It's done for free, so just go to the Ministry of Education with the originals, the original copies of your document, the originals plus the copies that you want to make. Now for embassy track, you're applying to 3 universities, so that means you're making 3 sets for each university and 1 for the embassy track. So you have, like, if you my application was so thick, I had like 4 different applications. This is a 5th extra one, and it was this thick, and then now extra certificates and extra papers, because this is just the application form. And then now I had all the certificates, all my awards, add everything. If you have any award, any volunteer activity you've done, add it to your application, because it gives you more competitive edge over other people. So add everything that you've ever done, every certificate. Don't be shy. Pay for that copy machine and just print everything and attach it to your application. It will help you a lot during the evaluation of documents. So I went to the Ministry of Education and I got my certificates, and I was like, okay, fine, that's one. And then the most important thing is also your what's it called, the sorry, I'm forgetting it, the 2 letters of recommendation. Yes. And you need to ask your lecturer in advance, so that, and one who knows you best and can write something good about you and vouch for you. So for me, I got it from my one lecturer from their anthropology department, and I also studied Korean, so I got it from my Korean teacher. You could get it from your dean for your university. My other friends who applied for this program got it from their dean or from a lecturer they like, and it has to be sealed, so you don't know what they said about you. So just choose someone you trust, and someone who knows you best, and someone who wants the best for you. So that's very important, and ask it in advance so that you get it on time, because if you miss out that part, then your application is incomplete and you won't go through the next round. So the first round is the document screening, and it's done in March by the embassy. And after that, they now narrow down, because the applicants, there is sort of a huge competition. I remember going through the website and over 900 people had clicked on this scholarship, and I was like, oh my god, and they're only choosing 5 people. So you have to, just because you see so many numbers, don't what's it called, feel bad and not apply for it. Believe in yourself and just apply. So eventually, when I went to drop my documents, I saw around 50 to 60 applicants, and I was like, okay, fine, around 60 people are going to go through document evaluation, and eventually if they don't call you back, that's what they write in the embassy website, because you also have to, if you're going through the embassy track, you have to go to the Korean embassy website for your country in order to keep tabs on the whole process. So they wrote around, was it March 12th, they were going to post who's successful and who's not. And so around, instead of the 12th, they called us like the following week, who are the successful candidates and who's going to go through the interview. So I got a call, and I was now preparing for my interview, because they'll ask you questions from your personal statement and from your study plan, so you have to prepare adequately from it. So out of like around, I think, the 60 or 50 people who had applied for it that I did see, around maybe half the number got called back for for the interview. So which was a very nervous day, but you know what, I did my best, and you just you do your best and hope for the best at the same time. So around end of March we did the interview, and now we're waiting for the next announcement. So this program starts from February, and by the time you're sure of your announcement is like around June. So it's a very long application program. So around beginning of April, they contacted the successful candidates, and I was happy to be amongst them. And from then I was like, it's not really guaranteed you'll go to Korea, because from there they send you 3 other documents to the universities you've applied to. Some people, very rare cases, some people tend to miss out on the university. So if you do a terrible selection, you might have passed the embassy, but if there's no university that wants you, then that's it, you can't proceed. So you have to be very careful on the schools you choose. You're supposed to choose between type A and type B university. In type A university, you have to choose 2, and type A generally means those the bigger universities within the bigger cities, like in Seoul and Busan, and very competitive schools like KAIST for engineers. So there's that. And then type B are the regional universities, and for me that one was now Jeonbuk National University, all the way down in Jeonju. And so I was very careful in who I chose, and I chose SNU, which is very competitive. I mean, if you choose SNU and Yonsei, chances of missing out in both is very high. So you have to also be careful with your the type B you choose. On the other hand, you can choose 2 type Bs as well and 1 type A. So but the maximum for type A is 2, and type B can also be 2 and 1. So you just balance out how you want to apply, and look through the courses for the university, and then choose the one that's most appropriate for you. For me, I took a risk with Seoul National University and Yonsei. I believed in my GPA, in my application, and basically I really wanted to do anthropology. I was like, if I'm applying for this, I will choose it. Even though it's fully offered in Korea, it's going to be a challenge, but I'm willing to do the course and, you know, excel in it and do a lot of studies on East Asian cultures and all that blah blah. Sorry for digressing, but yeah, so I was very passionate. Like, I think if you read through my if the people who read through my application, they could see how passionate I was about my course. And so that, with that, when the documents went out, of course I was nervous and I didn't know if I'm going to pass. So by the time end of April, they do the second round of announcements. Now, this is where KGSP go through the list sent by the embassy, and they'll be like, okay, you can go to the next round, which is now sending documents to the university track. So you can equally, this is now where, instead of having 5 people from my from Kenya, we ended up being 6, because they looked at the other reserve candidate, their times reserve candidate, and we were like, okay, this person had a good application, so they added him to our quota, and we became 6. And so from there, you wait the whole of May to know whether you're going to the university. Some universities do interviews, some don't. For me, I didn't do any interview. It was just document evaluation by the university. And before even May ended, I passed John Book National University, and I was like, okay, yay, at least I'm going to Korea. But I was also banking on my number 1 choice, which was Seoul National University, and so I was waiting for their call, same to Yonsei, for an interview. And eventually for Yonsei, I didn't pass, and I was like, oh my god, I didn't pass Yonsei, which is quite SNU is higher than Yonsei, so I was waiting for SNU. So I got SNU, an email from SNU. I waited for it, it didn't come, and there was a deadline. You have to report which school you want to go to by was it beginning of June or something. So there was a deadline. I didn't get an email, and I was a little bit stressed about it, but I was like, they tell you if you've passed or failed, so you need to know if you've passed or failed. So I decided to call. So I called all the way to South Korea, SNU, and it was a whole conversation in Korean, but I managed. I was like, I'm going to do this. I need to know if I passed or failed before I choose John Book. And funny thing, my application or my email got lost, and so they had to resend it, and by the grace of God, I had passed it. So at times some things can happen, and you might not be at a situation where, you don't know if you've passed or failed. So you need to know this stuff, and you have to be on your toes about your application. So at the end of the day, I was able to apply for SNU, and I was successful to SNU. Then you go through the medical assessment. Now they send you a bunch of documents, and you go to the hospital. So this is the whole of June. By the end of June is when they announced like which school you're going to, which language school you're going to. So it's a very long process. You have to be patient and just pray every step of the way that it goes well for you. So for the KGSP program, it's a very wonderful program, and it's offered to so many people. I think this year we had 1,278 candidates who passed or who are going to get the scholarship. So it depends with which country you're from. Countries like, I think India had over 20 20 in their quota was 20. Some countries like Poland are 1. So it depends which country you're from, but apply, don't be shy. And if you really want to study in Korea, this is a very wonderful program. It comes with a scholarship benefit, of course, monthly stipend of 1 million Korean won every month, and there's a settlement allowance of 200,000 won, and equally there's also money you given if you get topic level 5 or 6, then you get more money, like 100,000 won extra to it. So some people can go through that and, you know, pass. Others I've also remembered that TOPIK, which is the test of career proficiency, something. I'm so sure, I don't know if you know it, but I didn't have a TOPIK certificate when I was applying, and it went well for me. And it's not really a must you have it, honestly. My other friends didn't have it, but in the future they're going to give more extra points for anyone who has a TOPIK. So if you're sorry about that, I got a cold. It's autumn, but it's going to winter, so I got a cold. So if you have a TOPIK certificate from, I think, 2024, it gives you more extra points. So if you can do it, do it. At the moment it wasn't that important, but yes, apply for it. If you have a certificate, don't be shy in attaching it in your application. For me, I did my I had Korean classes last year in Sogang National University, so I did add those attachments to prove, like, I'm going to do a whole course in Korean, and so I'm determined to get it. So the reason why you do language school for a whole year is that you need to have like up to like TOPIK level 3 in order to get university admission. So you have to, if you have no TOPIK certificate, eventually you have to get one in order to go to graduate school. Because if you don't get TOPIK level 3 at the end of 1 year, then you can't proceed to language school. Some offer a 6-month extension to those who fail to get it within 1 year. I don't know if they still do that, but there's that option as well. So don't be afraid to learn a new language. It's good to learn languages and expound your world perspective and go to a new place. So if you don't have TOPIK, don't shy away. Still apply for the certificate and the scholarship. Yes. Equally, what else? Your GPA has to be, I think, 80%. Around 80%. So the higher your GPA, the higher the chances of passing. But even if your GPA is low, but your personal statement and your study plan is very determined, you can sway the panel in your way. So, but I think you have to like have a 80% GPA. Just look into it and see if you are passing or not. If you're not, improve on your studies, then it will help you out. If you're going to apply for a science course, it gives you a competitive edge over other people. I think they give more points for science courses, but that does not mean people in the arts department can't get it. I am from the arts department and I got it, and in my year, like 2 or 3 of us are going to do an arts related course, so we passed it. And then there are the science people as well, so science and computer science, such stuff. Yes. I think you get a few extra points for it. So yes, the KGSP program is such a wonderful program, and if you are curious how to apply for it, I'll link I'll give a link at the bottom on where to go, which is the studyinkorea.com. And also, whichever country you're from, go to the embassy website, the Korean embassy website, and they'll have announcements for the KGSP. So if you're going to apply for it next year, good luck. If you need tips about it, maybe I'll do another video on it. You can tell me down in the comments if you are curious or like you need tips on how to apply for it. So yes, thank you so much for watching my video. My name is Daisy Gemtai. I hope you have a lovely October. Yes, bye.